What is going on YouTube? Dr. Rod here. Another video. Next in the Master Governor Series troop training. I'm not even finna make this video longer than what it fucking has to be. Look, the only thing that you need to really learn about troops, like we already talked about rushing to T4, right? Do it. And then that'll actually help you with your troops for a lot of different reasons. Upside the biggest upside to training T4 that isn't inherently obvious is that you can start playing around with the times of the troops. So a lot of times, like the troops are training at really random ass times, right? Or to get to T4, or to get to T4, you have to get to City Hall 21, and to get to 22, this building right here has to go to 21. So you have a stable at 18, barracks at 16, and then archery at 21. Okay, that's good because at T4 the troops can take so long to train up, that it can take, upwards of 10 hours plus for all of them, right? So so you can kind of play around with the times in the sense that, okay, you train up troops at 8 o'clock, in the morning, for example. Then, you wait until you get off work at 6. That's like 10 hours, right? That's 10 hours. And they're all done within 10 hours. And then you train up until, maybe 400 or 500 more troops until you go to bed, right? Until you go to bed. Then at 11, a couple more hours after that, 4 hours, you train up 4 hours worth of troops. Then they're done. You collect them. You go to bed. But right before you go to bed, you make it so, you got 9 hours of training, or maybe a little bit more than 9 hours of training. And then you wake up in the morning, and then they're just then finishing, right before you go to work. So that way you don't have to sit here and watch the buildings and check in at all these random ass times, right? That is the 100% the best way to do it. And that's really made possible because when you at T 2 or 3, the buildings aren't, for T2 it's just the troops don't take too long, and at T3 your buildings aren't usually high enough to really do that yet fully. You can kind of do that with like, fine, I can do that with the stable. I might be able to do it with the barracks. I don't think I can really do that with the archery range, kind of, but once you get to T4, it's definitely doable. Until then, you kind of have to check in all the time. The other thing that I want you to think about, and it's more of a building technique I already talked about, is that I think it's 100% worth. It's a stupid event. I think it's 100% worth um, speeding up your troop buildings all the time, right? So when it's required, right, to meet certain threshold requirements for your city hall, I think it's 100% viable, right, to just speed them up. Now, what I would do is I would get a research buff. I mean, not a research, a building speed buff, right? You already told you how you should be maxing out engineering and masonry. So your times are reduced. I already said that we're going to be doing the Alliance Center all the time, getting that max pretty quickly on in the building cycle, right, of the next city hall. So I think that, this is very doable because it's not going to eat up nearly as many speed ups as it would. So, for example, to give you a figure, normally because this is the next one for me, right? I'm getting ready for is the archery range to City Hall. I mean to 21, right? From 12, getting it all the way to 21, it's 348 hours worth, approximately, give or take a couple hours worth of time, right? 14 and a half days to make it a little bit more manageable, right, as a number. So I'm I have like pretty good, you know, build speed. I collect the room, get a little bit more. By that time, my engineering is going to be a little bit higher. I'm getting a whole fuck ton of help, right? It's not really going to be 14 and a half days with the speed ups. It could quite literally be half that, if not more, if not less than half of the time that it would if I didn't have any of these buffs, right? So that's what I would do because Now you're getting the buildings up to where they need to be, and after that one specifically, it's in T4. It's a lot easier to play around with the times, and if you were to do that without upgrading, that's like 14 and a half days where you're not training archers. Fuck no, dude. That's a curse. That's gonna damn you. You know. Now your military power isn't nearly as strong as the next person's. Now, a lot of things come like, should I upgrade? Should I upgrade? Should I not upgrade the troops? Here's my rule of thumb. If whatever my march is at, my best march is at a particular time. So my best march would be Sun Tzu, 118,000 units. Let's go back. If this plus this plus this, if all of these troops right here don't equal 118, then I'm going to train more troops, right? Flat out, just more T3s. If I'm over that threshold, right? And I think I'm right there right now, right? I think I'm like right on the cusp of being right in that pocket where it's time for me to start training more T3s. If that's not the case, then I would just upgrade, right? Because you already have one full march, right? That's how I would do it. Now you have these, they're not silly events, they're good events, but it's kind of dumb how they want you to train. You just train tier 2 infantry. Well, this is the thing. If you train tier 3, you don't have enough time in a day to make that really happen. So it kind of, hurts you that you train tier 3 because you wouldn't get nearly as many rewards. It should be like, you you should get points for the quality to reflect the time difference. But that's just me. So during these events, train tier 2 troops and then just upgrade them later, right? So literally for part of this event, I train new tier 2 troops and then I just upgrade it, particularly for my siege, because I had a lot of T1 siege. T1 sieges I think is the best gathering one. So I trained tier 2 sieges and I just upgraded them to tier 3. To like cheese it, right? Get the rewards by all means. Get the fucking rewards, but I wouldn't, under normal circumstances, if you already got a full march, or I don't know, by the time you have enough for 2 full marches, you really shouldn't have to do too much upgrading. Maybe that's relevant when if it takes you a long time to get to T4 and you're training T3 for a long time. Okay, fine. Say I wanted 2 marches or a full march of infantry, I'm going to keep training T4 until I can get a full march infantry, then upgrade, the tier 3 parts of my all infantry march to T4. That makes sense to me too. Let's just see, like here, I'm just going to upgrade these. Boom. Okay, that's really all there is really to the troop training. I mean, it's simple. Just try to keep 100% uptime. If you can you can only train X amount of troops per day. It's a magic number. You can only do these many per day without using speed ups, and it takes a while to get that march. Like it just does. Right. So there you go. Troops training. Could have added more. It don't got to be too long. Next video that's naturally coming after this is, okay, we need people to lead the troops. That's where we go to the commanders. See you in the next one.